Welcome back to the Culturally Distinct Podcast. It's your boy DJ KO. I'm glad you guys tuned back into the show. I'm glad you guys hit me up in the DM to give me your comments on what happened last week. You know, for the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about government contracting. We've been talking about trying to get some of this money from state, local side. Also getting our business credit, also our personal credit. We're getting it together as a community, you know. If we want to do some big things in the next decade, we gotta prepare for now. And I know most of us are the first generation to do some things for our families. So I'm glad you guys tuned back in to listen and get some of this knowledge that we're trying to allude to our people. So I appreciate that. Make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend what we're doing up here. Anyway, today we have a special guest. So normally when we have guests up here, we don't have, I call them celebrities, right? I call them city celebrities. We have a city celebrity up here today. This young lady, I asked her to come up here, and I'm glad she came up here because I know she has a lot of information. And I'm going to try to get as much as I can out of her, you know. Hope she don't say no, but, you know, but it's all good. But anyway, I want you guys to welcome to the show the Assistant Director for the Office of Business Opportunity, right?
Yes.
Miss Lalla Moriss. Hey.
Thank you.
How you doing, man?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
That's awesome. How was your day today?
It was good. It was long and busy, but good.
That's a good thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I know, especially over there at the Business of Opportunity, you know, we're trying to get some of this money and this, we're trying to do some things in the city, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So first, before we get started, I wanted the people to know exactly where are you from?
I'm from Houston.
Born and raised?
Well, technically born in Austin, but
oh, really? Really?
Just spent a couple years there, but my family's from Houston, multiple generations.
Wow, you're the first person. Honestly, you know what? You're the first person that I know that's black from Austin.
Yeah, I guess I was born in Austin. Houston raised me, though.
Right. So you familiar. So you like the screw music. You listen to Beyonce growing up and
all of that.
You know, I don't know. Houston didn't have too much culture. I was going to say eating crawfish. I don't know about that because but that's something new, like to Houston, right?
I think maybe like on a wide scale, but we ate the crawfish growing up.
Really?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. I was, you know, because I've been here 10 years and I thought crawfish just got here like 4 years ago.
Absolutely not.
I could be wrong. You know,
we have tons of people that are originally from Louisiana or have family from Louisiana, so they brought a lot of that culture to Houston. Right.
Okay. Cool. That's dope. So what? I know that you're a fellow HBCU recipient. What school did you attend?
I attended the Mecca,
okay.
Howard University.
Okay, shout out to Howard.
In Washington, D.C.
Shout out to Howard. All right, shout out to Howard. I can do that. But, you know, of course, you know, everybody knows this is a Southern University thing over here. But I love HBCU, you know what I'm saying? So what made you from Houston go from Houston to Howard?
So I was educated predominantly in majority institutions, but I had a very strong core. I am somewhat rare because I'm not a first-generation college student. Mm-hmm. I'm a third-generation college student. All four of my grandparents went to college. And
HBCU?
All HBCUs.
Oh, really? Okay, that's dope.
And 3 of them have master's degrees, right? So I was very intentional about picking my college.
Okay.
Howard University, one, is located in D.C., right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm very interested in politics and always have been. So the proximity to the Capitol was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
They also had an amazing business school, lots of different majors that you could pick from. So I was a finance major when I went there. I was involved in lots of student organizations. I was in the honors program, which allowed me an opportunity to travel internationally for free and explore business opportunities globally, even while I was still in college.
Okay. Oh, that's dope.
And the full ride.
Well, of course, it's free, right? Free 99. Shout out to Free 99, y'all. Shout out to Free 99. It's free over there. But the good thing about, one thing I do like about D.C., now Howard is a great school. It's a great institution. You know how you get with fellow HBCUers, and we just talking to us about our university, see which one is better. But the good thing I love about D.C., like you said, is so many of us that's in that political arena,
Absolutely.
and they like super powerful, right? And I know Mecca. I'm calling the school Mecca now. Oh my goodness, forgive me, my Jaguars. But with that influence and with that information that they have down there, it's like a pipeline. Especially a lot of people that go to Howard, they get into politics, political science, things of that nature, and they go right into it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Politics, and there are lots of businesses that actually sponsor programs at Howard.
Okay.
So, I mean, like twice a week we had dinner with corporate executives, most of them out of New York, some out of North Carolina, some out of London, some out of Chicago, right? But, I mean, the exposure is just incomparable.
Okay. So after college, you left Howard to come back to Houston?
No, I moved to New York. I worked at an investment bank doing institutional sales with their asset management team. So, I mean,
did you graduate in?
In finance. I had a finance degree.
Oh, okay. So that's an interesting major.
Yes. Institutional
sales.
So I was selling very sophisticated funds. So if you think about mutual funds on steroids, right? The scale of fund that a public pension plan would invest in, I was actually selling those. So fixed income, equity, private equity, hedge funds, commodities, and other unique investment opportunities.
That's rare. That's super rare.
It's a very niche market.
So, because that's my first time hearing that. I never heard of that ever.
So if you think about any of your public systems, so teachers, right? They all are invested in the Texas Teachers Retirement System, right? That's managed in Austin. Right. They have an incredible number of assets under management, right? So these people are investing billions of dollars, right? And so they need to diversify their assets because they need to make sure that they can actually meet their retirement obligations for all their pension beneficiaries, right? So they're investing in all different kinds of funds, right? And they're seeking the most competitive funds in every area. Okay. And so, I was looking for these opportunities, for my firm, looking to see where we were the most competitive, and actually working to put proposals together with the head of our sales team.
That's dope. And that in itself, is, like you said, it's a niche market, and it's like you could have did so many big things in that market, and you decided to leave New York and come to Baton Rouge, right?
To Baton Rouge.
So shout out to I got to give a shout out to Baton Rouge. Even though I went to school at one of the best institutions in Baton Rouge, but you decided not to go to that institution. What institution did you attend?
I went to LSU Law.
Oh, okay. Good job. All right. I'm going to give a shout out to LSU just because it's in Louisiana. All right. So what made you decide to go to law school after having a nice career in institutional sales?
So I wanted to get a graduate degree, and I kind of went back and forth between an MBA and a JD. I really kind of settled on both, but I applied to law school first and ended up leaving with just the law degree. I wanted to get back to a bigger city. Baton Rouge is pretty small.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Right? And so, that might be something that I do later on down the road.
Okay.
But I decided to go to law school really because I worked directly with a lot of the senior people in our firm. People in the C-suite level, CEO, CAO, COO, majority of them all had law degrees. Right. And only one of them had traditionally practiced. A lot of our portfolio managers, who were some of the most highly compensated people at our firm, had law degrees as well and never practiced, right? And so over the years that I spent in New York at that firm, I was really able to just pick their brains and thought partner to understand why they chose that degree and what transferable skills they were able to leverage to be successful in the area that we're in then.
But you know what's funny though? I thought about this not too long ago because I thought about going back to school, and in my real job, I deal with a lot of I ain't gonna say C-suite individuals, but higher uppers, and majority of those guys do have law degrees also. And I was like, I had to get a law degree if I want to get appointed by the president, because I'm like, everybody that I know, even a good friend of mine, he just got appointed to Region 6 as the administrator for SBA. He has a law degree. Even though I know it's about relationships also, but majority of people have law degrees, not practicing law, but they just have a degree in law.
Right. Well, especially in the government space, right? Everything is regulated, right? At the municipal, state, or federal level, right? And so just having that institutional knowledge that you can draw upon when needed, makes you more marketable.
Right. I see that. I got somebody. Hey, one of these universities out here. Look, I got to go buy one of these law degrees. Okay, what can I buy one now? Nah, but moving right along to the Office of Business Opportunity. So, I want you to give the people that don't know exactly what is the Office of Business Opportunity here in the Houston area. What is it?
So the Office of Business Opportunity administers the City of Houston's Supplier Diversity Program.
Okay.
So we administer all the certifications that the city has: minority business enterprise, women-owned business enterprise, small business, disadvantaged business enterprise, and there are a couple of other certifications, right? We perform contract compliance monitoring activities on all of the open city contracts. And then we also have some business development and capacity building programs to help businesses hone certain skill sets to make them more competitive, not only in government contracting, but just in the broader market.
Okay. So in saying that, because I know you named out a couple of certifications. You said the women's disadvantage. Is it disadvantage is one. Disadvantage so
minority, women, small business, and disadvantaged business enterprise.
So in those three individual certifications, what are these certifications for?
So these certifications allow you to actually let me back up. So the certifications were created to be utilized on contracts with this city that had subcontractor participation goals, right? And so in order to advance our mission of making sure that we create a diverse and competitive economic environment in the city of Houston, the majority of city contracts actually have MWBE goals on them, right? And so what that means is that a prime contractor, who is the person contracting directly with the city, when they want to do business with the city, they have to agree that they will subcontract out X percent of that work to another company, as long as there is a divisible element of work. Right? And so we have contracts in three different categories. Construction contracts, and there's almost always divisible elements on construction contracts, right? And that's residential, commercial, and civil construction. Civil construction being like roads, bridges, drainage, that kind of stuff, right? We have professional service contracts that can range from engineering to architecture to attorney, legal services, to IT services. And then we have goods and services contracts, right? We have to order lots of parts, lots of material, lots of chemicals, et cetera, right, to continue ensuring that your water stays clean and drinkable, right? High priority. If you think about sod for parks that we monitor or that we manage, right? You have to actually order the sod. Ordering parts that go in.
Sorry, could you say that again?
Apple Watch. Ordering parts that go into machinery or that kind of stuff, right? So there are always opportunities to subcontract. We actually recently had a policy change where we allow certified firms that operate at the prime contractor level to count part of their self-performance as well.
Okay. So in saying that, now from what you're saying, I know that. Okay, let me slow down for somebody that don't, because I'm trying to explain it to where people could understand it. So
if you think about a housing contract, I think housing contracts are the easiest to understand, right? Whether you rent or own, you understand the components of a house, right? If you're building or renovating a house, you might have drywall work. You might have plumbing work, electrical work, roofing work, flooring work. What else?
Everything basically to build a home.
Exactly.
You got a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Right. So if a big contractor, company A, right, large contractor with a big balance sheet, right, that can take on the financial risk of that job. They get a contract. The contract, let's say it has a 20% MWBE goal on it. It might be a goal that says you have to subcontract out 12% of the work to minority business enterprises, people that are certified as such, and then 8% of the work to women-owned business enterprises. And you can decide which trades you want to include in that. So you might go find an MBE firm that does roofing. And then go find a WBE firm that does plumbing. And then go find another MBE firm that supplies flooring supplies. Right? And then potentially another contractor to install the flooring.
So in these contracts, do the primes reach out to the subs, or the subs reach out to the primes?
It's a bit of both.
Okay.
So the goal,
it's like a relationship. to a degree.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Ideally, people are building long-term relationships and partnerships that they can leverage down the road, right?
Correct.
If you think about the people that you do business with and who you would call if you needed, say, a new microphone, right? Like, you've already built a relationship with those people. They've already proven that they are competent, that they're going to deliver on time. Let's say that there's a warranty on it. They're going to fulfill the warranty if something breaks, right? Like, you've built that relationship. We want to encourage prime contractors to actually explore opportunities with new firms that might be outside of their current sphere of influence.
Right.
But it's important to build those relationships before contracting opportunities come up.
So because how often does a prime contractor change their mind? I ain't gonna say change their mind, but decide to go with somebody different after they've been doing business with someone for 20, 30 years? Because that's complicated. Even myself, if I've been bartering or communicating, and I have this relationship with this individual, then his dad took over the company, then his son took over the company, I know what kind of service I'm gonna get from this individual. I'm not gonna reach out to somebody else, even though I know I have to legally, but I really don't.
Right. So, it varies.
Okay.
Right. I can't give you a definitive answer.
I got you.
Right. So we work day in and day out to partner with prime contractors, to coach them, to explain how to actually research different firms in our directories, and encourage them to actually dedicate time to seeking out partnerships with new companies.
Okay.
Right. I mean, those longstanding relationships, they're going to be there.
Right.
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 And maybe you use different people on different types of contracts. Right.
Correct.
So you could have relationships with 3 different people that do the same thing and use them for different purposes or different projects. Right.
Right. So how important is it that these primes get minority or women-owned businesses to sub out work for them?
It's very important. So our program is not a quota-based program.
Okay.
Right? You don't get penalized just for not meeting your goals.
Okay.
Right? But you have to document that you have made what we call good faith efforts. It's a term of art, that you've made good faith efforts to actually try to utilize everybody to the fullest extent and then meet or exceed the contracted amount that you have with them.
Okay.
Right? And there are things that are outside of a prime contractor's control sometimes. There are also, times where you contract with a certified firm. I'm going to call all of our different certifications, right?
Okay.
If you have one or more of them, you're a certified firm.
Okay.
There might be instances where you contract with a certified firm and then they get lots of other contracts and just don't have enough capacity to perform on all of them. And so they say, listen, I know that you listed me, but I actually don't have the time, or I don't have the crew, or I don't have the equipment to perform on the contract.
Right. So the Office of Business Opportunity, say somebody new, never ever got into this world, but they have a sense of construction, they have a sense of engineering, they have a sense of architecture. They know how the job is performed, but they never been on the business side of it. So does the Office of Business Opportunity, do they position them in a way where they give them some type of training or some type of, help?
So we have one-on-one business counseling. We have a business development manager that provides those services free of charge, right? We also have a number of different business guides.
Well, how much is it?
Free, $99.
Hey, I heard that. It's free.
Yes.
It's free over there. All right.
Yes. We also have business guides that you can use to decide what kind of corporate structure do I want, right? Do I want a sole proprietorship? Do I want an LLC or a C or S corp? It's probably not a good idea to go embark on a construction business as a sole proprietor.
Right.
That sounds like a lot of financial exposure
Yes.
to me, right?
Yes.
And then we also facilitate a number of capacity building and business development programs that provide education, and we bring in experts, right, in various different areas to give you the true classroom education to help you map out a business plan, understand your goals, develop your mission statement, map out your financials and your projected cash flow, your marketing strategy, your human capital strategy, all that stuff.
That's good. So that's it's like tutoring to a degree.
It is.
Because I know that now, correct me if I'm wrong with this number. I don't know if this number is correct. Now, I know President Joe Biden, he signed a bill, infrastructure bill, for $2.1 trillion, right?
And I don't know the exact number, but
something
yes,
around that ballpark. So the city of Houston received what, 600 million, something like that. I think something like that.
Ballpark sounds
for
right.
infrastructure, right?
Yes.
So out of that 600 million, 20% of that 600 million has to go to minority companies, minority women-owned companies, disadvantaged companies, right? So let me see. Let me get a math. Like 20%. That's like $120 million, right? 20%, right? I think. So that's out of 600 million, 120 million has to go to these companies. How many people do you think? You probably don't, but I'm gonna ask anyway. How many people you think in our community knows about this, or known about this, for as percentage wise?
So I think that people that are regular players in the space,
Mm-hmm.
I think that they're aware, right? They stay on top of legislation.
Talking about black.
So people that are currently playing in the space,
Okay.
probably know. So if you are not a current business owner,
Mm-hmm.
right? I don't want to discourage people.
Yeah.
But it's probably not a good idea for you to go stand up like a cement company overnight.
Okay. And
Right?
why not? And why not though?
So I mean, if you think about what's at stake when you're driving. Think about I don't know what side of town you live on, but I spent a lot of time on the south side of town.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you remember that sinkhole on
Yes.
288.
Yes.
You want somebody mixing your stuff right? You don't want somebody that is reading books late at night. It's just mixing that. You want somebody that is actually worked on smaller projects initially, right?
Right.
Made sure that they have developed that competency, and then they can work on a larger scale.
Mm-hmm.
You also need people, sometimes payments are slow, right? Especially for massive projects where you have multiple layers of subcontractors. You have to submit your invoices. They have to go up for approval and then come
Right.
back down. And so you have to be able to float payroll, float benefits, float other overhead in the interim, right? And so you want to make sure that you're not setting yourself up for failure,
Right.
causing a cash flow issue that might put you out of business.
Well, that's interesting because a lot of people just see the money. They see that number. They say $2 million, $3 million. Say, oh, I could do that. But they don't realize that invoice side. They don't realize you got to really know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? One thing I know, for us with the federal government, that with the federal government, taxes is a real thing. So pay your taxes because they're coming back.
All types of taxes.
Yes, everything.
There are corporate taxes. If you have employees, you have 941 payroll taxes.
Okay.
And let me tell you something. The IRS will come and take your house, your car,
Everything.
Oh, yes, absolutely. You're held personally liable for that. A lot of people also don't understand that a lot of times in order to get business loans, unless you are a mega corporation,
Right.
you have to personally guarantee those loans.
Correct.
So, I mean, I know we were kind of just like commiserating about business credit and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. That exists, but if you are not a mega corporation, you are absolutely putting your personal assets on the line.
Yeah, I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna get to the business side, business credit side, but I want to also get into the regulation side of it. For as with these regulations, like a lot of small businesses, I don't think they know the regulations when it comes to even getting a contract. So, like I said, they look at this massive number, and they see this massive number. They're like, okay, well, I could get it, and see if they get it. Now they have no idea. Okay, I got $2 million, and I'm supposed to, like you said, mix cement, send cement to the city for a 288 expansion project. I have no idea what I'm doing now. So what happens in that case? Even if they have all the information, they got the paperwork together, they was awarded the contract. What do they? I know you don't coach them in doing that because that's
So
oh, no.
I'm just going to say
go
they
ahead.
would not be awarded a contract at a prime level.
Okay.
There's a lot of due diligence that goes into this.
Okay.
I mean, there's too much at stake.
Yeah.
There's too much at stake.
Well, the reason why I say that now, even though this was a mistake, and I don't know if you're familiar with Hurricane Katrina.
Yes.
So Hurricane Katrina, a lot of people made a lot of mistakes. That's why everything around the world is regulated now. So when it comes, even when it came to funding for Red Cross, which was, it was a lot of mistakes were made. So a lot of people was getting government contracts without even signing paperwork. It's word of mouth because FEMA didn't have nothing in place when it comes to regulation or policy, nothing. Right, so something massive like that happened. They needed emergency services, debris removal. They needed pickup. They needed what is that? When you tear down houses, bulldozer.
Demolition.
Demolition. They needed all this stuff, and they were just giving people money. Do it, just do it. And even
a lot of money gets wasted that way.
But the one thing I want to say is this: that the paper trail never stops. So this was 20 years, 30 years ago. And these people now, they owe this money back. I know one guy, he owes like $10 million back. And he's hiding right now. But the one thing I want to say about getting contracts that I know for sure that the money never stops, especially when it comes to federal funding. It could be 50 years down the line. That OIG is going to come back or the audit team or whomever. If that money is messed up any kind of way, it's going to come back on you. So let me fast forward this to
So this is not this is not shouting out any services that I offer because I don't offer them, but it's so important for business owners to engage competent legal counsel. Right? Okay. And like your buddy next door that's a generalist that does not know anything about like construction law. Probably not the best person for you to get legal advice from if you are a subcontractor on a big construction project, civil construction project. It
is so, but do you think it's difficult for like a small business to even go for contracts? Because, like what you say, you need attorneys. Not one, you need attorneys. You need a CPA.
You can start off with one.
You need a bookkeeper. You need somebody that can fund this thing.
So
it's a lot.
You have to leverage expertise in different areas, but you have to know a little about a lot, right?
Okay.
Right? So you can get QuickBooks as your bookkeeping software initially, right? And then when you get big enough, then you can have an accountant actually review your books, and they can fix things that need to be fixed,
right?
Code things, allocate things properly, right? And then once you get to be a certain size, you actually need to probably like outsource that bookkeeping or have somebody that works for you part-time or full-time to actually manage that and have eyes on the books all the time. But you actually need to be sitting down probably once a week, reviewing it and understand what's happening. You don't have to do it, every day. For legal services, you can start off with one lawyer that can review contracts. I mean, if people just did that, that would go a long way. Okay, because contracts, sometimes they have the fine print that you don't read, and it's not fine. It's usually all the same size.
It's just so many pages, right?
I mean, I'm being funny.
Right.
It's a lot of pages, sometimes a lot of legalese, right? And so, if you don't have like that legal training, you just, I mean, honestly, like one word can change the meaning of something. A comma can change the meaning of something. And if you don't understand what's happening, and you just accept it because you want to work, if something happens, then you're not protected.
That's a good question, because I want to ask that. Do you think passion, is it good to have passion over experience when it comes to that? When I say passion, I just need this contract. I need it. If I get this contract, I could do so much with it versus I just know how to do the work.
I think you need a healthy balance of both. It also depends on the contract type.
Okay. Especially when it comes to policies, procedures, laws, and stuff like that. Because a lot of people don't know about the law side of it.
Yes.
A lot. I was talking, funny story you said that. I was talking to a sister. She's going to come on the show, but she's a business attorney. And what she does, she just looks over contracts all day. So I told her, I was just messing with her. I was playing with her. I said, so what is your retainer? She's like, no, it's not a retainer. She said, my fee is really cheap. I said, what's your fee? She said, I only charge $285 an hour. I said, what? $285 an hour?
Well, that's reasonable.
That's what I'm saying. She said she's cheap. I was like, so how often? I said, how long does it take to go over just a simple government contract? She was like, maybe take 3 or 4 days. I said, so $285 times 32 hours. I said, geez, is that just looking with paperwork? But is it worth it though?
Listen, I mean, you choose where you take your risks, okay? I mean, if you get burned one time,
Right.
You'll probably engage counsel in the future, or
Right.
at least you'll know like which areas to look at. I mean, you could also kind of coach people and tell them like, hey, these are the areas I really want you to focus on because this is where I had an issue before. Like,
Right.
I understand the rest of it. I only want you to focus on this. Don't bill me for any more time.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
you can negotiate. Now, and there are some attorneys that actually will not take business. They won't take you on as a client unless you hit a certain amount.
Okay.
Right? Like
Right.
$3,000 is like my minimum, or $5,000 is
Yeah.
my minimum. I'm not doing anything for less than that.
So let's fast forward to when we were talking about personal guarantor versus the business side. I know a lot of people that don't have the capital to go into, like you said earlier, you might be backed up 6 months, 6 weeks, or even 6 months, depending on how big the contract is, without even getting paid from the actual prime. And you get a business loan in your business thing, but you personally guarantee it, guarantor or guarantee. So do you see that often? Like people fault on their loan and not pay it on time, or
not in my current position.
as far as getting granted? Because I know.
So not in my current position, but I mean, I know lots of entrepreneurs that don't do business with the government, right?
Okay.
And I know plenty of them that have run into issues, right, on that front.
Mm-hmm.
And there are lots of successful people that have failed in the past,
Right.
and have had those types of issues.
Okay.
So, I mean, you have to know what you're doing. When you put your house on the line, or you have a spouse and or children,
that's tight.
you're putting their house on the line as well for you to pursue your passion.
Right. Right.
I mean, so you have to just be very cognizant of that and thoughtful and mitigate your risk as much as possible.
Right. That's a term, mitigate your risk. Ooh. So I have a question for you. Not as the assistant director, right? Just as a
private citizen.
Yes, a private citizen, civilian, right? This is a regular civilian. Do you think it's wise? I want you to straight up answer. Do you think it's wise for a minority business, right? Just starting off, right? They have a little capital, but not millions of capital, but got a little capital. Do you think it's wise and they want to go for these local contracts? Do you think it's wise for them to go for it?
Depends on what kind of contract. And why does it change based upon them being minority or not?
Well, because I know that certain primes have to get minorities involved in the process. They don't have to, but I guess they want to do the ethical thing.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Talk about it.
So I think, one, it depends on what kind of contract you're going after.
Okay.
Right? Like if it's a
graphic
design contract or there are lots of unique contracts.
Mm-hmm. Say if it's a architecture engineering, and all you're doing is writing.
That's not all you're doing. You're actually designing the way parking garages, bridges, roads, sidewalks, all of those kinds of things are constructed.
Has 30 years of experience in doing that for a company, but they just never did it for themselves. But they retired. They want to do it for themselves because they know they know the work. Mm-hmm. They just don't know the business.
Oh.
Do you think it's wise for an individual to jump into that like that?
Maybe like a smaller contract if they get some business coaching. There are lots of free resources out there to help you kind of build that business infrastructure. There's the Small Business Development Center.
Okay.
It's a partner of the federal government. They are a recipient of lots of government funds. There is SCORE. They're a partner of the SBA, and it's lots of retired execs and business people that donate their time to actually do coaching for businesses. I know lots of business owners in my personal network that have actually benefited from SCORE's services.
Okay.
And I will tell you that the SBDC, they're really looking to do business with a diverse group of clients.
Okay.
Right? Specifically African Americans and the Latinx population. You have to disclose a lot of stuff. I mean, it's like applying for a home loan, though.
Right.
You're disclosing your financials, like everything.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people just don't want to, give up that information in order to get the services and the counseling and coaching that's needed. So I really think the nature of the project definitely matters.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
It also depends on, you said they have a little bit of capital. I don't know what that means in context.
Well, $50,000.
Okay, depends on the size of your subcontract.
And see-
How long can you go without that money?
The thing is, I'm saying this is somebody that doesn't know.
Are you gonna be eating like
Sardines and canned goods.
canned spam and Alpo while you wait on your money to come in?
But that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I was asking, do you think it's wise for somebody to go into that? Because
I think there's so many other, like I have to ask so many other questions in order to determine that. It depends on your lifestyle. Are you married? Do you have kids? Do you have people that rely on your income? Right?
Okay.
You might be able to ratchet back your lifestyle, but will the other people be able to if you have people that rely on you? Right? Also, like, what's your personal debt service?
okay.
Right? Like, what, like, you can have cash, but
How
it
much
depends
money
on,
do you owe? Yeah.
yeah. So, like, because then you're going to mess up your personal credit,
Mm-hmm.
which is going to impact your ability to do business later if you can't make those payments while you're waiting on this money.
Because the reason why I asked that question, because I'm looking at it from a viewer standpoint, right? I understand it to a degree because I work in that area, but the average person doesn't work in that area, and they want to know,
Right.
because this is information that they
Right.
finally they probably just got,
Right.
and they're like, oh, I could do that. You know, I can do that. I think I can do that, or me and a couple of buddies can do that. We have the expertise. We've been doing it for 30 years. We have the capital. We just don't know the business side of it, right?
Then you can start off on smaller contracts, right? Also, like, build your network.
Okay.
Um,
And what you
One
mean
of-
by that?
so,
Building your network.
So one of the most difficult things about being a small business owner, right? And there is a there is a legal definition for what a small business is based upon the Small Business Administration.
Okay.
I mean, true small businesses.
250
Right?
under 250. You gross under 250,000, right? Something like that, or 450.
Oh no, it's much higher than that.
I thought it was 450.
Oh no, it's much higher than that.
Is it?
It can be in the millions.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It can be. I mean, based upon the SBA's definition,
Okay.
right? But if you think about like your small neighborhood businesses or like a startup,
Mm-hmm.
like you're just trying to start some with your buddies, like you said, you just need to like, I don't know, you just have to be cognizant of so many things.
That's what I'm saying. That's,
No, I know.
Because look, I understand you have the information, you have the knowledge, and the thing is, you know what resources to go to, and we're going to get into that at the end. But I'm talking about the average person,
Right.
The average person that never seen none of this stuff, like they never seen it. But like I said, they have the expertise, they have the knowledge.
So you should build up your network, right? So you should get out and go to industry events, right?
Okay.
Join, what is it, NSBE, National Society of Black Engineers, if you're an engineer.
Right.
You should be joining legal organizations and networks.
But
if
but honestly, does that work? Because these networking events are really basically people. To me, I go to these networking events, and most of this information, like 80%, is I know.
So not necessarily like sit and get events.
Okay.
I'm not talking about like you going sitting down in the audience and people are like lecturing at you. I mean like join an association where they have regular meetings and maybe like a social, or they go to get drinks afterwards.
Got you.
Hang around people, identify people, have a plan. I mean, you have to be somewhat tactical.
Right.
I mean, think about like how tactical you are. Like if you're dating, like you're married, right? So when you were like
I was on
dating,
hunt.
when you were dating
I was
different,
hunting.
right? But you were also vetting. You were probably like, oh, she's cute, but no, I can't marry that.
Yeah, that's true.
That's not good for my long-term future. Like, so you need to do the same thing from a business perspective. Like, oh, okay, I want to learn more about this. Oh, okay, like those two people are nice. Like, I'd like to catch up with them. But that person is somebody that is actually working in that industry. They seem somewhat successful. I really want to like get a cup of coffee with them or sit down and talk to them for like 10, 15 minutes, get their card, follow up with them, and then actually follow up. Keep them in your network. Add them to LinkedIn. Send them a Christmas card.
I like that.
When you have Christmas card. Like, right? So people do business with people they trust, right? People are also more apt to help people and offer assistance and guidance and coaching and mentorship to people that are like in their sphere of influence.
That's
right?
good.
So the goal is to like expand your circle of influence so that you can get all this information, right? Sign up for newsletters with organizations, right, that focus on what you're trying to get into.
Okay.
If you, are you a basketball fan?
I am not, but yeah.
Okay, so
I'm familiar, but I ain't.
okay, so I mean, Kobe talked a lot about how he got to be as good as he was.
Okay.
In high school, like he realized what his strengths were. He was very self-aware, and he realized that he was not as good with like dribbling with one hand.
Okay.
So you know what he did? He like spent a number of months dribbling with that hand.
Okay.
Right? Because he knew he could kill it, right? If he needed to switch, he could. Because he already had that down. He knew he was the best in his region. But he needed to like actually master this and reduce,
Right. So basically what you're saying, he tapped his when he tapped into his passion, he understood, he was aware of where his weakness and his strength was.
And then he worked
and he used
diligently to like minimize that weakness.
And he didn't just put 10,000 hours in, but he, like you said, he used them 10,000 hours to what could benefit him in the future. So like you said, it was like a tactical approach for his game.
Exactly.
Same thing you got to do for business. I get it. Exactly. I like it. So let me ask you this. Last question. For his resources, how can the people, how can they look for the resources? What websites are there? What places could they go to look for these resources?
So OBO's website is great. So
Okay.
HoustonTX.gov/OBO/OBO. Lots of different resources. There are a ton of pages on the website, right?
Okay.
To spend some time. There are lots of on-demand videos that you can leverage. And we have links to other partners' websites, right? So that's a really great resource. Visit the SBA's website. Visit SCORE's website.
Yeah.
Visit the Small Business Development Center. We call it the Greater Houston SBDC. Visit their website. Take advantage of their free coaching, right? The government actually pays them to provide this to people for free. So, like, take advantage of it, right? They're also, like, if you are a startup business owner, right, the city OBO partners with the library to host the Lift Off Houston Business Plan competition.
Okay.
We give away $10,000 prizes in 3 different categories for the winners of those categories. We have our Build Up Houston cohort program. It's a capacity building program for businesses that already are grossing at least $250,000 annually. There is the Goldman Sachs like business startup cohort. I forget like the actual name of the program, but it's very good. You can also like Google, YouTube.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
YouTube have a
you can Google anything you want, and it's on YouTube.
Right. It is the reason why I asked that because I know YouTube is right there and it's easy and it's a culture. Culture. It's a is that a word? Culture. It's a mechanism where it coaches you to learn some new things. But I'm like old school. I like going to the library and actually looking at resources. You know what I'm saying? And I like going to places and talking to people that have done it, especially people who have been doing it for years. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how I'll learn.
So then, depending on your industry, right? Think about all of these tech accelerators that we have in the city. You can look them up. You can Google tech accelerators in Houston. They're like spaces where entrepreneurs go to create.
Okay.
Creating whatever, right? Whether you are a real creative, like an artist, graphic designer type person, or if you are a coder, or if you are trying to start an engineering company, or some other, like, operationalize some cloud-based service, get in proximity with other business-minded people. They're also, have you heard of Coursera?
No.
So there are these like free online classes that you can take, and you get a certificate at the end, right? And you have to make sure that you are being diligent about attending the classes, right? But lots of people have developed so many skills. Like I know tons of people that have taken Coursera classes. There is this organization called General Assembly, and I forget whether it's paid or free, but you can take like distinct coursework in those things. Then like Cornell has some graduate level.
I think all Ivy Leagues does.
Well, and they're like certificate programs.
Yes,
you can take them. They're web based.
Yep.
There might be other people that you can see on a Zoom, or it just might be on demand.
Right.
But it's really great information.
And I think that's one of the biggest currency. I think networking is the biggest currency in relationship. Everything that I've done in life, all the money that I made, all the things that I made money with, it was all about relationships.
Right.
It was never about how much I knew or how much information I had or how much money I had. It's about relationships. They just called me up or I called them up and, you scratch my back, I scratch yours, Anyway, so guys, we got to get out of here, but I want you to give your social media information if you want people to hit you up. If not, just give your office information if they looking for any opportunities that they want to look into. You can say the websites one more time, and if you do want to give your social media, you can.
Okay, so Lalla Moriss with the City of Houston's Office of Business Opportunity. My email address is lalla.morris@houstontx.gov. You can follow me on LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. Great way to message me. And then my IG handle is Lalla Vicky, LallaVicky.
Okay, that's dope. Y'all make sure y'all hit Lalla up. Look, I'm definitely gonna hit her up, no doubt. I'm gonna squeeze that sponge so all the water is out of it. But no, you guys need to hit her up on LinkedIn because I believe that the more people we have that have this information, I'm talking about us now. The more people we have with this information, the powerful we become as a people. And now we can pass laws, we get things due, legislator, this, that, and other. So guys, I appreciate you guys for tuning in to the Cost of Distinct podcast. It's your boy DJ KO. I love you guys.